Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 327 at scavengerlife.com.
Welcome, everybody. So I think this is going to be a bit of an abbreviated podcast just because we are in the Arctic Circle up in Norway.
Yes.
The sun is shining outside and we really want to go out and do some hiking. That's what we love to do is hiking. So.
And I'm not talking about extreme hiking. I'm talking about taking walks.
Yeah, just walks in nature.
We just want to take a walk.
Yeah. I don't know. Isn't that what hiking is?
Yeah, but I feel like there are people who are more like, we're going to go up a mountain. I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. I just want to walk around the woods.
Right. You know? So that's what we want to do. Okay, but I wanted to talk about dealing with stress.
Yes.
And we have a good example of that. So we're traveling. Several days ago, we stopped to fill up the car, In
Norway.
Yeah, in Norway. In places other than America. Gas is expensive.
Super expensive.
In America, it's like $2 a gallon. Here and in most places in Europe, it's like $8 a gallon.
$10 a gallon.
So Ryan went to the bathroom at the gas station.
I almost can't talk about it.
And I was filling up the car, and I finished filling up. It was like $70 to fill the car up. I was like, oh, great. And so I'm like about to close things up, and I look and it says diesel only. We're right by the gas tank. And I was like, oh my God, I just put unleaded gasoline in this thing. And I remember you came out and I told you, and you got kind of upset.
Kind of upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I am the only driver, so I knew it was a diesel. Mm-hmm. And
the reason why we did that was you had so much fun driving in Ireland. And you were like, let me drive in
I'll just drive.
Norway. I mean, I didn't mind driving. And then if you rent a car, it's more expensive putting two people
drivers on it.
So,
yeah.
And at home, I always drive. I mean, when we drive together.
Long distances, So that sucked really bad. And I was super upset and I was crying because we're in a foreign country. We don't have phones that we can just call a tow truck. We were just what the hell?
And we're trying to get somewhere.
We have
we have a long drive ahead of us.
A really long drive.
And also, I don't know, if you want to talk about it, but both of us deal with some level of panic attacks.
Yeah, anxiety.
In different situations. I can have them. There's a danger of me having panic attacks when we're flying. Because I'm claustrophobic. I don't like being... And so I've worked on that. And I still fly. I do not let it stop us. But it's something we have to deal with. And you kind of have an issue with, driving and being in cars.
Yeah, and being in new places that I don't know and feeling feeling a sense of not being in control. And when that happened, everything just went for me.
So, you were actually having a panic attack at that moment?
I was pretty stressed about driving a lot and not knowing the area and just so I actually pulled off the road to the gas station because I was having anxiety.
And I didn't know this.
I didn't really. I was just I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pull over. We're just gonna take a little break. And then that happened, and I was like, I'm losing it. You were like, what is going on? And I just started crying. And so these really nice people. Anyway, granted, we're on vacation, right? So
okay, so let me take over the story because you're shut down.
I'm just I can't.
You're in the middle of this gas station parking lot, on the highway, just bawling,
just crying.
And so. Okay, but I think this is a good example of what happens when you're partners.
Yeah.
It's with each other. So I go into action.
Yeah.
I just go into the it's like a Circle K kind of place.
Yeah, it's like a gas station. It's a really nice gas station.
Right. People actually eat whole meals here.
Yeah.
And then I go right up to the counter and I'm a dumb American and I just put gas into a diesel.
Yeah.
And she started to laugh.
Yeah.
Not laugh
at you, but oh no,
She's like, okay, well, let's call,
the rental company.
And I'm like, my phone doesn't work, I only get data. And she takes out her phone and she starts helping us. She's just it's woman behind the counter. And she saw how upset you were. She felt
oh my God, the poor woman.
She gave us free coffee and little danishes. And then we, spent like an hour because we had rented the car in Copenhagen in Denmark. And we were here, and so we're trying to talk to the company, and it all worked out. And so this woman was super nice. She helped us like translate and communicate, even though English is a language. It turns out that it's very common for people to put the wrong fuel into a diesel.
Yeah.
Like the tow truck guy came and took us to like a car repair
place down the street.
And, it took about 4 hours or so. Everyone is super nice.
Oh my God. The nicest people. Like, I could not believe how amazing everyone was. And
the guy who was kind of in charge of the car shop says, like, part of their business is just cleaning out cars by local people. Because, he says, like, a couple will have, like, a family will have 2 cars. One's diesel, one's, regular gas. And that people get confused which car
they forget which car they're in. They fill up. They're like, oh, God.
So that made me feel good. And we were, in 4 hours, we were back on the road, and we're good. Now, the big question is whether our car insurance is going to pay for this. We'll see.
We don't know yet.
It's like $500 or something.
It's probably going to be about that.
But,
which, to us as scavengers, we're like, wow, that was an expensive mistake. Yeah. But at the same time, like you said, we didn't have to, like, rent a hotel in that town. We didn't have to, like, take taxis everywhere. We didn't have to, like, pay for another rental car. It was like, these people helped us, and we got on the road by 2 o'clock, and we got to the place we were going by, like, 7:30.
Well, and so I will say, so after all that's done, and we're finally back on the road at, like, 2 o'clock, then we spent another 6 hours driving through some of the most beautiful country. Yeah. And we were both quiet, like,
we were calm.
This chaos had happened. And you kind of, like, felt good after that.
I felt better, yeah. Well, I think part of it, too, was, like, I wasn't wanting to talk about the stress I was having while we were on vacation.
Right.
Because we're like, look, we just finished this huge renovation. We, like, got on a plane. We're, like, going to all these cool, beautiful, awesome places. And I'm, like, having panic attacks. And I'm like, I don't want to tell you that and be like, I'm freaking out. And you're like, why? We're just, like, chilling out, and I'm just...
Wait. That's all in your head.
Like, no, I mean,
this that
is the question one would have.
But then when we were, after all this happened and we're driving to where we're going, we then, talked.
Right.
And, and we've talked about this before. Stress is something, especially when you're dealing with panic attacks, it's about talking out loud about it.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the danger with panic attacks is like it's the fear of like being embarrassed. Like you're going to freak out and you're going to embarrass yourself. And one way to short a circuit that is to talk about it. To talk about it with me, with a therapist, with somebody, a sister, talk about it where you talk about stress and you kind of take out the embarrassment of it.
Right. And figure out like ways to deal with it where you're like you said, one way to deal with panic attacks or anxiety is to, like, tell someone.
Right.
So that they can be like, okay.
Yep.
What do you need to do right now?
And plus, I think it's much more common than, I don't know how you feel about it, but, panic attacks and stress and all that. It's very common, especially in, like, American culture.
Yeah. And people don't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus.
A lot of times,
Like, and this kind of, just to kind of wrap this up and kind of bring it back to eBay, because this is an eBay podcast.
What are we talking about here?
Is, life is always overwhelming when you try
new things. Yeah.
New things. Yeah. And we like to try a lot of new things. Like, that's kind of the reason why we start to sell on eBay and, to take control of our time.
Right.
To be able to do things we want to do. And, and the danger of stress, to me, is that it forces us back into like a really comfortable corner.
Right.
So like when we started to sell on eBay, it was very stressful. And scary, are we going to make enough money? Like, who wants to buy this stuff?
There's no safety net, yeah.
Is that thrift store I'm buying from, are they going to like no longer be there? And that's like my only source of income. There's all this stress. And the danger is, well, let me just go and get this this simple job.
Right.
I kind of hate it. But I get a weekly check, and it's good enough.
I don't have to think about it,
And, and for me, like, the stress, the panic is like, well, I don't like being on planes, so I'm just not going to fly anymore.
Right.
So why don't I just, like, I never fly again.
Right.
And we just, like, stay at home. And if we want to go anywhere, we have to drive.
There,
so really, we can only drive a couple of states away, and that's it. And people...
And then if I'm, like, having panic attacks about driving long distances, then we're just, like, stuck at home. You know what I mean? So... It's like, ugh. Well, I mean...
But you know, and that's also the thing about, like, starting a new business, too, is that, like, if you're like, oh, it's too stressful trying to sell on eBay, so let me just get that job, and then you just, you know, you get caught in, like, a little cage that it's created because you don't want to be uncomfortable, you know?
Right. Well, it's like that with the house renovation. Like, we finished... And there's so many moments where I was just like, why are we doing this?
Right.
Why are we doing... Like, this is so much money. Like, anytime you write a check to a contractor, you're like, oh, God. Like, and then you know, the next week you write another check and you're just like, oh, my God.
But, you know, what we've done since we started on this journey in 2008, you know, this eBay journey and, you know, starting a rental business and traveling is just, we just talk about it, you know?
Right.
It's not, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect in the sense like we're never going to have stress.
Right.
It's just, we just kind of talk about it and we deal with a certain kinds of stress and then we'll find a new ways to be stressed and that's just the way it's going to be. And then we come out the other side and it's almost like in my mind, for me at least, it's like a muscle that I've worked out.
Right.
You know? And then I'm a little bit stronger and I can deal with more. And I want to try new things on top of that. And so instead of shutting down and making my world smaller and quote unquote a safer world, I push myself and stress myself out, talk about it, get the help I need, and try new things and then try new things after that. You know?
Yeah, it's not easy. And I think also... when you look at, like, other people's lives and you, like, see them on Instagram and you're like, wow, they're like, having this, amazing,
I think that's
perfect life.
Yeah.
It's the worst because you're like...
It's the worst thing about social media because so often people aren't really being honest about, like, what they're going through. Like, So, It's, you know...
Yeah, it's that FOMO, fear of missing out. And so I think...
And like, everyone's having these perfect lives. And so...
Yeah, and it's not true because, like, you know, I think... You know, look, we're like, we've traveled around the world. And I'm like, yeah, and every time I've traveled, I'm like the most nervous traveler.
Right.
But I still do it because I'm like, I can't, I want to do it. I want, you know, and same with, like, house renovations. It stresses me out so much. I lose sleep. I, like, make myself get a cold. Like, I'm just like...
Well, I think...
and yet I still keep doing it. You know, you're just like, it's not like, oh yeah, I'm just, you know, no problem.
I think it's
like,
funny.
No,
That's
I'm freaking
why,
out.
Like on those shows when they do the home renovations, it's like every show they've already redone the house. They're making a lot of money. It's beautiful. But then, like when we go to the supermarket, I'll see those little tablets.
They're getting divorced.
It's so interesting. Like those couples on those like home improvement shows are like these like topics on these things because people want to see that they're like getting divorced and they're fighting and they're doing all these things because that's the reality of any business, anything is that there's always stress, you know?
And it's how you deal with it.
And so, you know, if people who are hearing this, you know, they found this because we talk about eBay. I mean, this is the eBay part of it. You know, if you have a job and you alone or you and your partner are wanting to like try and sell on eBay as a living, it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, it's hard.
And
it's
that there's
scary.
stress, and we all deal with it. But that's what the business is.
Right.
You know, that's what the thing is how you deal with that stress.
And so what happens is, and this relates to eBay business, Airbnb business, traveling, doing anything, that you're like, I'm scared. If you go through it and you're scared and you're freaking out, and then you come out the other end, the rewards are incredible.
Right.
Like, your life feels different.
Right.
Like, after that moment at the gas station where I was like, I can't handle this, like, the trip was just, like, so nice.
Right.
I was like, okay.
It's almost like that needed to happen.
It needed to happen. And it was expensive, and it was crazy.
Right.
But so many different aspects of it. We met amazing people who were super nice to us. I actually, like, when we were in the, this is so funny, when we were in the waiting room of the, it was a car dealership with, like, a workshop underneath it. For some reason, they had a random open Wi-Fi network. They're like, we don't know the Wi-Fi. We're like, we found an open network. I listed 50 things on eBay.
Yep.
Like, I was like...
That was your way to deal with stress.
Yeah. I was like, I opened my computer. I got on the Wi-Fi. My helper at home had, like, 50 scheduled listings. And I was like, boom, 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 boom. 3 hours went by, and we, like, hopped in the car. I was like, that was the best thing that could have happened, you know?
Because, it's like I said, it's all about how... like stress and problems will always happen, and it's how you deal with those things.
And then what happens afterwards, like what changed after, you know.
Okay, well, let's talk about our actual eBay business.
Yes.
Not about our feelings.
Wow.
We're like, stop talking about that.
They're like, shut up.
All right, so we are on vacation for a month. We talked about this before. We put our handling time, we change it, and then as our trip gets shorter, we change our handling time.
I'm obsessive about it.
And again, the way eBay does it is weird. It's like, what is it, like 30 business days?
It's 30, 20, 15, 10.
Business days, right.
And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right.
So...
instead of like, I wish eBay would do it where we could just say, we're shipping on October 2nd.
Yeah.
And then eBay just dynamically changes the shipping based on
that's
that.
How it should. That's how it should be.
But that's not how they do it. And we've been selling all week. Now,
it hasn't been as crazy as
this week has been dramatically fewer items than a week ago.
This is my theory. eBay didn't see that we changed our handling time. Like
their algorithm has
didn't catch up.
But again, we don't know. But it was a much slower week. But we still sold stuff. So we had 2 buyers ask us to cancel their purchases.
Because they needed it for like a project or a prop or something. Right. They were super nice about it.
I mean, we have 98 things to ship already. So it's only been 2 weeks. And we have 98 things to ship. And out of 100 things, only 2 people wanted to cancel. And we were like, no problem.
Yeah, it sucked,
canceled,
but,
done deal. And, but we have gotten some questions where people are like, I bought this. It says, you're going to ship October, in like a month. Yeah. I get that. But they were like, why can't you ship it early?
We're away.
Like, we have to explain that we physically cannot ship.
And they're like, why is it going to take so long?
And then people are like, oh, that's fine. Because I mean, some people just think that we're being slow.
Yeah.
Because there are those kind of buyers out there that just have really slow handling
sellers,
times. Because they only ship every week or something.
Yeah.
They have these weird rules, but those are their rules, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So while we were in Norway, we finally pulled the trigger and we ordered the steel building that we're going to get put on that slab behind our house.
Now, I don't know if we had told people that we decided to do the prefab steel building, because we kept going back and forth. Should we do a stick frame built by a local carpenter? Should we do 2 stories? And that's going to take longer. It's going to cost way more. And we were like, let's just order it and get it installed in a day, and then we have storage.
Well, I think the crazy idea we were thinking was, it's the size of a small house.
It is.
So we were like, well, why not just build a stick building that could one day be a house?
Right.
And so, but the money was so much more. This was basically, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
Installed and insulated. Yes. Fully insulated.
We got the extra insulation.
And it's 40 foot by 24 foot. Yep. So it's going to be a nice size.
It's big.
And we're excited. And so we're going to have it installed hopefully in November.
Right. We get back from all our jobs essentially the middle of October, and we got on Skype essentially while we were in Denmark, and we were like, we want to order this building. Here's our credit card information.
Put a down payment on a credit card.
He's
and
like,
we'll do
there it is.
And then after that, we'll run electric. We need to build shelving. It's going to be a massive shelving job. It's going to be so much shelving. And it'll be good. We can store furniture in there and just boxes. It's really the dream we've had to not have eBay in our house, and to have all of our stuff in one place. It's really, it's a long time coming. It's definitely never had that. Right. It's definitely, it's definitely been an investment of time and now as money too. But you know, this makes it real. Like, this is our business, you know?
I mean, also, like, later on, we're like, we don't want to do eBay so much. It's still a great building for having on the property. You know, that's always good for our property to be like...
Yeah, I mean, if we ever sold the house, you know, guys love, like, the fact that this huge insulated building.
With two roll-up, like, garage doors.
Right.
It's just whatever.
Yeah,
like, it's...
on a concrete pad.
Because
like,
our house does not have an attic or a basement.
Right.
So, not that you're like, I have to be a hoarder and build a whole building for all my junk, but it's nice to be able to be like, let's put all our tools, which is like are shoved in my like little closet. I'm like, all my tools and extra paint. You're like, let's put it in a building. You know?
So that'll be good. So a couple things on eBay. On the its forum, people were talking about eBay was sending notes.
Yeah, so eBay was sending like warnings about like you have contact information or links that aren't allowed in the listings anymore because they've changed their policies. But they don't explain what links aren't allowed or anything. Yeah, so I never really saw the policy update thing that's like you can't. I never even heard anyone mention it. Like you can't have links to Wikipedia. You can only have links to basically YouTube videos or like freight services. So you actually found a link that explained that. So we'll put that on our blog. Because it was in the message. It was like, look at our links policy. So I only had 6 listings they were essentially all Wikipedia. Like, check out this, you know, like information on Wikipedia. Here's the history of this thing, you know. Whatever. It's not important. Like, someone can Wikipedia it themselves. So I was like, I don't want my 6 listings to get blocked. Right. Although other people were having issues with third-party listers like Garage Sale. Because, and that's the one thing I don't like about these other, you know, services. Yeah. You know, so I'm paying them. Yeah. And what they do is they, like, insert a link back to their site because they're doing some free advertising listed by Garage Sale. And so people are saying, like, I have like 800 items that I have to change, and there's no way to bulk change it. They have to go in and remove that. Now, some of these third-party places I've heard understand that that's a problem and help you fix it. Maybe they're changing it where it's new items won't have that link. But so far, I don't know. But it's crazy. That's a problem. So it's just those links. It could be little tiny ones. It just doesn't even matter. It could be invisible. It could be in the HTML somewhere. But those kind of links can't be there. Super crazy. Yeah. So, But that's the other thing about eBay, and I've said this before. I just wish that there was like a page. It was like ebay.com/important info. You know? It was just one page, and it just had... I could go there and just see, like, what's the important stuff I need to know about a problem with the search engine, problem with this, you know, something I need to change. Just like... I feel like that updated, like, updates, like, this is what I need to know this week? Yeah, right. I mean, or just, you know, like... There was a server down, and that's why things were slow. Right, it's an update. We need all links out here. I just need all of that there in one place. I feel like eBay, they have it on the seller update, they have it on this page, they have it on that page. And it's not updated in their like help section. If you call eBay, you may get someone that knows. You may not. It's just like I said, eBay is this kind of... It's a behemoth. You know, come on. We love eBay because we're on it. We're all in. I get it, but it is like this big mountain, and we're all like standing outside trying to decipher what's going on. It's like medieval England. Right. We're like, what's happening in the kingdom? And some guy might come out and make an announcement, and then people are like, but what does that mean? And then we're all like trying to figure it out, and all these different groups of people are coming up with different theories, and you know. Yeah. It's just have a page where it's just like almost like a change log of eBay. Like, this is a change log of eBay, you know? Yeah, I hear you. Okay, and one other thing, there was a seller. Yes. Horizon Picks. Mm-hmm. He had this interesting idea where we were talking about
picking up items.
Yeah.
You know, like if you sell it.
Local pickup.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then he says that because people are worried, like, well, if someone pays me on PayPal and then they come pick it up, then they can call PayPal and say, I never picked it up. And there's no, you know, so people are like, well, take a picture of the person, have them
sign the invoice, take a picture of them with the invoice.
He said, when the person comes, have them give you positive feedback on the spot. And the positive feedback is proof of the completion of the sale.
That's interesting.
And he said he was told by eBay directly that that's how to take
However, if you're working with like Plycon or whoever, he can't leave you positive feedback. So you're like...
Well, I guess with, you know, and it's Plycon is like, it's one of these services.
A shipper service.
A white glove.
Yeah.
A service. Well, you could say, you know, hand me a slip of paper that said that
you picked it up. Yeah. And what you can do is, and I think I've done this before with someone who was kind of far away, I took a picture of the invoice. And so eBay messages, you can send a picture. And I'm like, this is it. They picked it up.
Yeah.
Your name is on here.
I mean, at the end of the day, I always say this. Like, we've never had a problem. A problem could happen. But we've, you know, it's like, it's Craigslist almost, you know?
Yeah.
Everything we've done is good. People want the item. I mean, if you're going to deal with a scammer, like someone's out to scam you, it's just almost like it's going to be a problem no matter what. Like, if you can try and do all these things, but it's going to be a headache no matter what.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me, it's all about when you're communicating it with the person. If it starts feeling like a problem, like confusing, weird address, you know, like they're not communicating properly, then just don't do the sale.
Yeah.
But if Cancel it feels smooth and good, then, you know.
Like, we've had people with local pickup just not message us for a really long time, but they've paid for it. And we're like, shrug. Yeah. You know, you're just like, cool, all right. I mean, eventually I'll be like, I want this off my porch. Like, let's do this. But I give people time, you know. And like we said, we've done a bunch of local pickup and, like, uship.com or Plycon, never had a problem. Not a single problem. And we love it.
Don't be afraid. And then the other thing that was interesting on its forum was someone was, and I'd never thought about this before, so oftentimes at some Goodwills in a thrift shop, they'll have like a silent auction. It's like the corner of the store, and they have like, oftentimes they're
the glass case,
cool items, and it's like silent auction, and I guess, and I've always skipped over that.
You never look at that stuff.
I don't understand that. I don't want to deal.
Don't care.
So he said that he's actually started to put bids on things, and very often he'll put like a low bid, like
$5.
$5, and it'll be like, you know, a game console or something cool.
Yeah.
And, you know, it doesn't cost you anything to put a bid on it. And then he says what has happened for him is that it gets bid up and it's way more than $5. But then when the store goes to try and contact those people to get the cash, they can't find them or they don't call back. Yeah. And then he said he's won a couple things for only $5 just because he'll pick up the phone.
He's like, yep, I'll get it.
So I'm like, I'm going to try that sometime, you know? Just put a low bid and just see what happens. That's great, you know.
It's great advice.
Because, you know, maybe there are most people do ignore that stuff, and maybe it's just kooky people that are putting bids that don't even make sense. Then if they win, they're like, I don't want to pay for that.
Yeah, like, I'm just going to ignore it. And, you know, it's not like on eBay where they're like, you have a strike against you now, you know, whatever.
That's cool. Okay, our numbers, I didn't really do them all very detailed, but I'll give you very rough. So a week ago, we sold $2,500 worth of stuff on our main store. I mean, it was like actually a better week than we've had in a long time. This week we made $1,000.
So we made that handling time got caught up with us.
Under half. And then in our second store we made like $200 and something, which is about what we normally make.
Very low.
But the way I see it as is that if we didn't change our handling time, like if we just closed our store, we made $1,000 more than we would have otherwise.
Exactly.
We haven't even spent $1,000 on our holiday here. It's this week on stain and gas, so we're already ahead. So I'm happy.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Okay, let's listen to some voicemails. You can always call us on our voicemail line, even when we're out of the country. The phone number is 540-407-8486.
Scavenger Life, what's going on? I'm just listening to your podcast and the caller asking about the stores for sale, eBay stores for sale. I've run across these before, but it's just basically because I was looking at an item and then clicked on other items for sale, and their store happened to be for sale as a listing. So I just searched in eBay store, and there are 402 listings for this. I didn't go through them all, but the first one says eBay store for sale, turnkey, listed and unlisted inventory, thousands of items, sale price $100,000, 18 people watching. There's lots of them. People do this all the time. I don't know if they actually sell them, but they definitely have them listed. Here's one for $130,000, $130,888.88 for an eBay Lego store for sale, all inventory plus website, turnkey business opportunity. Lots of them listed. So anyway, enjoy your vacay.
Yep, I am on the exact page that you talked about. eBay store for sale, turnkey, listed and thousands of items. He's got photos of all these shelves, of all this junk on the shelves. And he says in the description, this is for the eBay store, all the items, the name, and the inventory. Also comes with social and media accounts, Pinterest and Twitter, over 3,000 items. I list daily, blah, blah, blah.
But he wants $100,000 for it?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. On eBay, you can buy prohibited items. You can buy endangered turtle shells. You can buy ivory.
Right.
You can buy this medical equipment that shouldn't be allowed, but it's on there. And what I've always been told by eBay is we don't catch everything. It's like speeding, Everyone speeds. We can only catch a certain number of people. It seems
Which
kind
is
of
crazy
weird.
because someone could just search for it on
So,
eBay.
From what I've read, eBay does not allow you to buy the actual name of the store because then what happens is some scammer could buy someone's store that has a good reputation. There's no There's no prohibited anything on the store.
There's no selling limits.
They buy the store and they immediately fill it with just thousands and thousands of fake items.
Right.
Scam as many people as they can, and then they just take off. I mean, you can see why eBay wouldn't want that.
So these are probably prohibited.
I don't know. But like he says, it's right there. So we could buy someone's store for $100,000. Go for it. So anyway, I don't really, I'm not a lawyer. I don't really know the answer. If someone has ever sold their store on eBay
or bought a store, I'd love to hear about it.
But again, it's the difference of I can understand people that sell the contents, like come to my warehouse and pick up all the
my
stuff
inventory,
and list it on your own store. Mm-hmm. I'm just talking about the actual name, and all that.
Well, I think the advantage of that is everything's already listed. So you're like, here's the inventory. It's inventory numbered. It's ready to go, and then I'll just list the items new. So that's the advantage of buying a actual username.
Hey guys, this is Adam, aka Retro Treasures WV. I'm on the forum. Just have a quick little story just to remind people of a little tip I use when I'm dealing with a potentially bad buyer. I had a buyer yesterday who started asking odd questions and negotiating price through messages rather than the offer system, which was the first little red flag. Went back and forth a couple of times, and they were really nitpicky over price, haggling over $1. And when it came down to it, we agreed on a price, and then they had this weird little story how their credit card only dealt in whole numbers. And so they wanted me to do $1 less so they could have an even whole number. So that was my last red flag. And anytime a buyer meets those red flags with too many questions or a weird request or question, I always go and check their feedback, specifically the feedback they leave for sellers. So you have to be on a computer or go through the classic site in order to access that. You can't access it through the mobile site or the eBay app. Once you check that, this person has left 10 to 15 negative feedbacks, all for similar reasons. So as soon as I see that, that's a dead giveaway. I'm not doing business with this buyer because there's a high likelihood that they're going to claim something's wrong or they didn't get the item, even if they did, and I'm going to have problems. So I blocked them. I declined their offer they finally sent me. They got upset, wanted to know why, so I explained it to them. They asked a couple of strange questions, and that always tells me to check the feedback. They left too many negatives, so I choose not to do business with them. I think this person is one of those international reshippers. So they were a little distraught that I wasn't letting them buy my shoes now, because I assumed they had already sold them to someone else. But it is what it is. So just a little tip for potential new sellers out there, that one of your best defenses is to check out your buyer if you feel like there's something not going quite right. Odds are, if they ask any questions, they do leave a lot of negatives. There is correlation there in my experience. So there you go. That's just a little tip I use. It keeps me from dealing with bad buyers on occasion. Y'all do a great job on the show, and I'll see you on the forums. Thanks. Bye-bye.
So that's really good advice. I mean, I never think to do that.
I forget to do that,
Like, if we're doing a messages back and forth, getting offers, it's so easy. You can actually look. It doesn't tell you what items they bought, because eBay now makes that a private thing.
But you can see the feedback they left for other sellers.
And that's really smart.
I've done it before, and other people have said they've done this. When they have a seller who, like, starts acting bizarrely after they got the item, a lot of times I'll be like, uh-oh, what's up with this person? And then I'll look at it and I'm like, okay. And actually, sometimes you can use that as, like,
a reason
when you call eBay and you're like, this person's like a serial negative feedback lever, and they're fishing for a partial refund on a $10 item. You know, you're just like, sometimes you can get the case closed, or it helps your case anyway. So that's very good advice.
Hey, Jay and Ryan, this is Will from North Carolina. I was listening to the latest episode of the podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying your vacation. And I had a few answers to some of the questions that people are asking. So the bundled listing thing that's popping up, basically the way I understand it to work is, if you have, say, 6 of the same item, if you have, 6 of the same shirts, and you just want to make one listing and you want to say, I have 6 of them, if you click the bundled listing, it's saying that the price I've set is for all 6. So that's kind of how that works. The next thing that I know is selling your eBay store. If Jay said that he typed it in, and he typed in eBay account, if you go to eBay and type in a search for eBay store, you will find people selling turnkey stores where you can buy out their inventory and their accounts with 100% feedback or whatever, they're calling it turnkey business. You can pick up the inventory, some of them are $2,000 up to, $200,000. And the third thing I wanted to let you guys know, I don't know how it works where you're from, but here in North Carolina, all of the Goodwill, Salvation Armies, all of the chain thrift stores, they don't actually launder clothes or furniture. What they do is they actually bake it. They have big industrial ovens where they'll load up a rack of clothing and roll it in. I don't know what the specs are. I was told once, but I don't remember them. But they'll put it in for like 6 hours at like 100 degrees or 150 degrees or something like that. And supposedly that kills everything that could possibly be in it. So the clothes aren't actually laundered. So those people who are actually buying that stuff and washing it before they sell it, maybe not a bad idea. But I just wanted to pass on the information. Hope that helps some people out. Have a great day. Bye.
Okay, number 1. The bundled listing. It sounds strange that they would add that as an item specific, because if you're like, I have 6 of these new shirts, and you show all 6 of them in the pictures, this listing is for 6 brand new, Dickies shirts. Why would I have to say it's a bundled listing in the... Maybe it's a way people can search for, like, lots? I don't really understand that.
I think that might be is what it is.
It's like an actual item specific. But I think I've never seen any documentation on that, so I'm kind of like...
That's why we need the change log.
I know, you're like, that's interesting, because there are times where I'm like, I want to buy a lot of something, yet this person didn't call it a lot, so it's not coming up in search.
Right.
So
it's a box.
It's a box of whatever. It's a set.
Right.
And you're like, should I search for set or box or
Right. And it's not a multiple a listing, a multiple a listing is I can buy one, but they have multiple
6
items.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And yes, we did also just get that call about turnkey businesses, as we said.
That's
Very
interesting. I mean, I guess if eBay allows people to buy, stores, that's interesting.
The other thing is, you said that the thrift stores like Salvation Army and Goodwill, they, in quotes, bake.
That makes a lot of sense.
Right, because look, the thing about something like bed bugs, which can be in clothes, you have to, when you get your house, I knew someone in a city that had a bed bug infestation, and they had to get their house temperature raised up to 150 degrees for like 5 hours, and that kills everything. And so that's exactly what you're saying. They roll in racks, because that's true. If you have something like bed bugs and you're like giving stuff to a thrift store, they have to bake it out.
Yeah, I guess the thing the stores that we've been to, it doesn't look like they have that equipment.
Right, they're smaller,
site.
like church stores.
Well, even the good wills don't look like they have that kind of equipment there, so it must happen off-site. But then people are dropping stuff off at these local stores, and they're taking it into the back. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an interesting.
Although I have seen at our local thrift store, our little church thrift stores, that they'll have tags on linens and pillows that say it's been sanitized. I don't know how they do it. Yeah. I should just ask the manager next time. Like, what does this tag mean? Like, it's certified, like, state tag that it's been, in quotes, sanitized. I don't know. It doesn't smell like they sprayed something on it or anything, so it's kind of...
I just know that when we buy clothes, it smells and looks clean. For the most part, every so often you'll be like, this is like pretty ragtag, but
it smells like stale, but usually we wash that stuff.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it for this week. We are now going to eat, and we are going to go hiking. I call it hiking, even though it's walking. And you can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we talk about, and you can join the discussion over there. It's been a good week. We've been talking. You can also call and leave a question or comment on our voice line.
The phone number, again, is 540-407-8486.
And this information is mainly for people that have never heard us before, but we post this podcast every Monday.
Yes.
Sometimes it's Sunday night, but it's Monday. You've been real good about that.
Even on vacation.
On Wednesdays, we post what's sold or what sells. It's video, and that's done by Steve Schultz. He does a really good job. And you can subscribe to us through iTunes and or through YouTube. It's whichever is more interesting to you. So you can always get the latest one. We've actually been listening to a lot of podcasts. I've been downloading them on my podcast app and hearing them in the car on these 6-hour drives. And I was actually checking out Scavenger Life, just checking our feed. It goes really far back. So if people are just popping in on us, they can go pretty far back.
Right.
And download. And we also have another podcast at shampooandbooze.com. We just posted a new episode after a while. Yeah, we're about to post that. And so we're going to do an update on our rental houses. We kind of talk about things that we haven't talked about in a while. And if you want to rent our vacation houses in our area,
you can.
We will have links on our blog. They're really cool. We live in a fun part of the country, especially if you're on the East Coast. It's really beautiful. If you like to hike
or walk
a river, we now have 2 places that you can book. And if you do, we give Scavenger discounts.
Yes.
And if you want, we'll even come and hang out with you and we can talk.
Or if you don't want to meet us, that's fine too.
Yep. That's it. All right, we're ending this podcast.
3, 2, 1.
Goodbye.